¡Huepa!
¡La baraja!
Yeah.
Taquito is in the house.
Taquito is in the house.
Taquito is in the house.
Taquito dice, bear down, brothers. Buenas tardes, damas y caballeros. Bienvenidos al episodio número 38 de su live show favorito, Haciendo el Oso, el único show hecho
38 ya.
ahí vamos. Por y para los fanáticos de los Chicago Bears de habla hispana y también de habla anglosajona, ¿cómo no? Estamos súper contentos. Les doy la bienvenida a todos los viewers de Hueso Colorado y también a mis coanfitriones de costumbre, Loki y Oscar Ortiz de Pinedo. ¿Cómo están, hermanos? Loki, buena tarde, hermano.
Buena tarde, hermano, muchas gracias. Pues muy contentos porque una vez más tenemos un invitado de lujo, un súper experto en nuestros Osos de Chicago, y pues hay muchas cosas de qué hablar. Hubo una llegada esta semana, estuvo un problemilla por ahí con Eddie Goldman, que no se presentó a los OTAs, al minicamp obligatorio. Pues bueno, tenemos muchas cosas de qué hablar el día de hoy, y el invitado de hoy nos va a ayudar mucho. Toda esta introducción todavía en español, pero switchamos los idiomas a inglés en un momento más. Recibimos con un cordial saludo a nuestro querido amigo Oscar Ortiz de Pinedo. Oscaroso, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien, muchas gracias, Loki, muchas gracias, Juan, por este recibimiento. Es el primer programa en el que estoy desde mi fatídico desmayo, caída al hospital, pero ya estoy mucho mejor. Digo, obviamente muchos de los que nos están viendo, pues ignoraban que yo estuve en un estado de salud bastante deteriorado, pero ya estoy bien, listo para apoyar a los Osos de Chicago. Y pues obviamente para seguir hablando pestes en contra de la directiva de los Osos de Chicago, ¿verdad? Y bueno, en fin.
Antagonista, Oscar.
Hasta que no me den resultados, papá, yo no voy a hacer nada optimista.
¿También vienes de Contreras hoy?
No, vengo con muchas dudas, muchas dudas. Bueno, al final de cuentas, digo, yo creo que hay de todo en la viña del Señor. Se vale ser de todo, ¿no? Están los que son súper optimistas con Justin Fields, están los que están súper dudosos con Justin Fields. Digamos que yo estoy un poquito en medio, ¿no? Que dices, oye, ya todo el mundo ya nos hace campeones de la NFL y no ha tirado un solo pase el señor, ¿no? Entonces, vamos a esperarnos a que nos dé verdaderos resultados y ya hablamos, ¿no? Mientras tanto, vamos a empezar con el programa porque nuestro invitado ya nos está esperando.
Es correcto, ya tenemos gente en Estados Unidos que nos está molestando, ya que dice fully in English my ass.
Full English, man. It's full English. From now on, it's full English.
All right, yes.
No es.
No, todavía no.
Somebody's asking me if this is a pre-recorded show. No, we are absolutely live for Mexico and the United States and all other countries where they are watching us now.
7:06 Central Time.
It's correct, 7:06 Central Time. It's a fully live show. So, Juanito, ¿crees que sea oportuno presentar a nuestro invitado el día de hoy?
Yo creo que de una vez, hermano, y te voy a ceder la palabra. Tú que conoces más a nuestro gran invitado, digo, es una voz respetada dentro del tema de los podcasts acerca de Chicago Bears, gran amigo de una persona que ya tuvimos aquí, a Philo Touchan, y bueno, pues tú, hermano, que es amigocho tuyo, pues te voy a ceder la palabra para que lo presentes. ¡Ah, The Bears! Ya pégala en algún lado, hermano.
Esa nos la mandó. Yo estoy esperando estrenar coche para pegarla, mano, pero ahí la tengo. Muchísimas gracias a nuestro productor que nos mandó esa calcomanía. Pues bueno, sin más preámbulo, to all the people watching in the United States of America, to all of his fans, because we know that he has hundreds of fans around the United States. He is a very respected voice in the United States regarding our Chicago Bears and podcast. He is a host in Keeping It 100 and the Tape Never Lies Network. And I want to introduce you. I'm just going to tell you a piece of information. Just right now, everybody's IQ in the room just went 100 points up times 100, because we have here Shayne, the smartest man, Marsaw.
Oh! Hey, what's up, guys?
There he is.
That's better. That's a better intro than Philotoshan has ever done on any of our shows.
Nothing but the truth, my friend. We are very glad to have you here. Thank you very much, really, for accepting the invitation. There is a lot of expectation from the fans in Mexico who wanted. They have a lot of questions to you, and I think that they are going to start appearing soon on the screen. But well, first of all, thank you very much. We are great fans of your work, guys. The Tape Never Lies. It's it's our role model for doing what we do. So thank you very much for being here, Shayne.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, Phil and I started out on this venture just about a year ago. We kind of knew what we wanted to do, and we brought it together real quick. But it's been a lot of hard work, but it's well worth the effort that we put into it, because we've broadened our base. We get to meet guys like you, and it's always a good thing to talk Bears. And whenever we can do that, it's a good day. And it's, we put a lot into this, a lot of time and effort. We have regular jobs just like everybody else does. We have families. I have a newborn that was born a couple of weeks ago. So
congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yes, we're always busy, but we always make time for the Bears.
Yeah, it's something that I have always wondered, like, do these guys really have day jobs? I mean, because the production that you put into your shows, it's really amazing. All the edition work, all the sound, all the video that you put on your shows, and all the research work. So it's great. Who was that? Hi, Loki.
Wait,
who was that?
Wait, give me a second. I'm gonna.
It's okay. Don't worry.
I a little bit of settings, so I don't cover our guest face. Give me a second.
It's okay. I was just complimenting Shayne. Yeah, we're really great, big fans of your work, man. And you have had in your shows great my right? So hello, who's that? Shallows Blade. Hello, my friend.
Okay.
Your biggest fan, bro.
My biggest fan. Thank you, my friend. So Shayne, tell me a little bit about how. Just mention just throw in there a couple of names of the guests that you have interviewed in your show.
Oh, geez. I mean, it's been, Phil and I have been doing this for a long time, but, we've had on Olin Kreutz, everybody should know him. We did one show back before we started on our own. We did a double show with Kyle Long and Akeem Hicks on at the same time. That was a lot of fun. Recently on TTNL, Shy City Sports, Keeping It 100, we had on Ryan Nall, and then we had an unannounced drop in. I think Loki, you were there for that when David Montgomery called in live. So that was, we knew that was happening before, but we kept it from the fans. We wanted to surprise everybody, make sure that everything went. But
it was a surprise, definitely.
Yeah, we've built that base. We've always said that we want to involve our fans. When we have a guest on, we send them some TTNL swag. Phil does such a great job on producing those.
I have mine.
Yep. Phil does such a great job on producing those opens. When we have guys on, they all get their own open, it can be a couple of minutes long. I usually write it, and we have a voiceover guy, Lawrence Fleming, that sounds like he's straight out of the movies, the way that he intros it. It's so much fun, when they say raising a kid takes a village. It's the same way with a show, man. It takes a village. We have a lot of great people that do a lot of hard work behind the scenes that people may not know. And Phil and I couldn't do it alone, because I think it comes off very, very well on screen, but that's a testament to the team that we've built.
It does. It actually looks brilliant. Juanito, as you know, I was a guest in Keeping It 100. Yeah. And did you have the opportunity to see the intro that they made for me? I was so
about Oxford and all those things, and it says Loki del Rivero.
Almost. I went to Cambridge, but almost. You almost got it.
Oh, it was Cambridge? Yeah. Cambridge? I thought it was Oxford.
Yeah,
but I did see it.
Yeah, you did watch it. Oscaroso, something that you want to say to our friends Shayne, the smartest man, before we actually start with all of this bombing of questions that we have for him. We have to take advantage of a knowledgeable man regarding the Chicago Bears. So before we start, Oscaroso, something that you want to say to our friend.
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, welcome. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation for this show made in Mexico about the Chicago Bears, because there's not a lot of Chicago Bears fans in Mexico. Yeah. So it took me a couple of years for me to find out these guys. Yeah. And it was like, okay, I'm not the only one. No,
I'm not alone.
There's a lot of Dallas Cowboys and New England. I hate them.
Pittsburgh.
Green Bay Packers. I hate them as well.
Just bandwagon fans. Yeah,
terribly. So, thank you very much. And perhaps my internet connection is a little bit slow, because we have full house right now. My nieces from Monterrey are here. so everyone is using the Wi-Fi connection. So I'm sorry.
We know all about it. Yeah, we've been dealing with some Wi-Fi issues with Phil for the past couple of months. The poor guy has been through so much trying to narrow down exactly what it is, and I'm hoping maybe they have it rectified. But yeah, there's nothing worse than when you have have internet issues, or if you have a full house and everybody's streaming something at the same time. We get it. We get it.
So they're watching Loki actually in Disney Plus. So that's it. So, thank you very much, and let's begin with this because I'm very excited. I want to know what does Shayne has to tell us about the Chicago Bears are going through a lot of stuff, I want to know all of it.
We do.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's been a long road being a Chicago Bears fan. We all know how that is, and this off season, this 2021 off season, didn't start off very well. You know, you remember the QB1 tweet that was sent out by the official site with Andy Dalton, and you know, sometimes the Bears are their own worst enemy. They think they're doing things right, and they actually make things worse just by sending out a simple little tweet like that. But, you know, things changed on April 29th, 2021, the night of the draft. You know, we were on live. We kept on preaching that there was really no other way for the Chicago Bears to go. They had to find a way. They had to find a way to get a quarterback. They had to go up. You know, we break down the tape all season long, and we were fans of Mac Jones. Phil was a real big Mac Jones fan. I'm an Alabama fan away from, you know, the NFL myself. I've been an Alabama fan my entire life, so I was a big Mac Jones guy. But to me, it went beyond that. You need to, when you're getting a quarterback in a big city like Chicago and the number 3 media market in the entire world, you got to get a guy that's going to transcend. You know, we all saw the things that went on with Mitchell Trubisky, who had all the talent in the world, but he may not have had everything. I don't want to say he was lacking things upstairs, but sometimes sometimes things away from the football field felt a little bit too big for Mitch. Like we got to turn the TVs on because I don't want to hear the negativity and stuff like that. Justin Fields is built for that. You've heard him. He's a guy that's confident on the field and off the field. He's played in big games. He's been around the media. He's been followed all the way through high school. He went to Georgia, transferred, went to Ohio State. He's won at every stop. Chicago made the move, went up to number 11 and got him. So that's when the tide started to, you know, you took that Titanic that was headed for the iceberg and you started to turn it a little bit in time. And then the next night we saw them go up. They traded up again for Tevin Jenkins. My partner in crime, Phil Atoshin, almost had a heart attack live on air when they made that move because he was so excited, as he should be. These are things that we've been preaching for so long. We've been talking about Charles Leno here. I didn't think that the Bears would ever move off of Leno this season. I thought that they would keep him just to see what was going to happen. But then they course corrected yet again. They did the right thing. They released him on the Monday after the draft. And you started to see these little things like these guys started to get it. And hey, listen, the NFL, we've all heard that phrase. The NFL doesn't stand for the National Football League. It stands for not for long. If you continue to lose and you're mediocre like the Chicago Bears have been, you're not going to get a second shot at GM as Ryan Pace. That's a job that you usually have one shot, and then you go back to being a scout or a pro personnel guy or whatnot. These guys, they got a little dose of reality. Can I swear on here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I just wanted to know because sometimes I have a little bit of a potty mouth. That's
how. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So
Too.
Yeah, these guys had to come into Jesus meeting and they needed to wake the fuck up. And I think that they did. They moved up, like I said, to get Justin Fields. That ignited the fan base right there. And this is a part of what you're seeing now, Loki, is you saw the tweet that they sent out about them putting in the bid for Arlington Heights, talking about getting out of Soldier Field. Because listen, when you're a franchise that's worth almost $4 billion, if you own your own stadium, you're going to damn near double that if you own your own place. And that's at the end of the day, it's all about the almighty dollar. And I don't know about you guys, if I have something that's worth $3.5 billion and I can double it to $7 billion, I'm going to be all about that too. And it's going to be all about the experience for the fans also.
Why is it so complicated, Shayne, for people? Well, first of all, this was not my original question. I was going to ask you a question, but I think that you already answered it. I was going to ask you, did we or didn't we fucking nail these drafts? And I think that you already answered that question with a very sound yes, we did, definitely.
Yeah, the potential is there. That's the key. The potential is there. You know, they didn't go out and follow up the Mitch Trubisky pick with an Adam Shaheen pick. You know what I mean? The night they took Adam Shaheen, Phil and I, you know, we accepted it, but we weren't happy. It doesn't matter what anybody else does beyond round one for the Bears. This is all about Justin Fields. Really, this entire season is about nobody else. Those are just facts. This is the Justin Fields season. It's all about him. Every single factor that goes into building this team, the first person that you should think of every single time is, how does this affect number one, Justin Fields? Because he's going to be the face of the franchise. He's going to be the face of Arlington Heights. This is happening. You're not putting that out there saying that you put a bid in and say, you know, come in low and then you don't get the bid. This is going to happen. This is a new era. This is what the Bears, Loki, you've heard me talk about that, say the Bears and get away from the 1985 portion of it. I love history, all of that, but it's time. Listen, the Bears didn't win enough. That 85 team should have won 2 or 3 Super Bowls, not one. So they actually underperformed. This is hashtag new era Bears. That's what we're telling all of our fans. When you talk about them, new era Bears, send that out there, get that going, because that's what we want. It's a new direction, and the Bears seemingly have started to figure it out, and I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, definitely. Juanito, why do you think that is so complicated for people now that Shayne is mentioning Arlington Heights? Why is it so complicated for people to understand that this is a good move for us? I mean, to have your own stadium, it's definitely, I mean, if it's going to be open, if it's going to be natural grass, why would it be a bad thing?
You know, fan base is divided, you know, it's like half a bit like it, half a bit don't, you know. There's this historic thing about Soldier Field, you know, downtown Chicago, next to the lake. I mean, just look at it, bro. It's part of the city, you know. I mean, the stadium next to, so
there's a lot of L's in that stadium.
Exactly. I know. But I think there's more like good memories. Talking about the 85 version of, it's more like this feeling, you know, that kind of memory thing. But hey, if the Bears move to Arlington Heights, I'm down. I mean, yes, it's far from Chicago. It's a 30-mile drive, but who cares? I mean, in the end, it's part of the process. It's part of evolving, you know, in the NFL. Yeah. Lots of teams have their stadiums far from the city. I know people want the cold weather. We have 2 of them
here in New York. They're not even in New York. They're in New Jersey.
Exactly. People want cold weather to be a factor in games. But hey, like Shayne mentioned, we have cold weather and we've been losing games like for the last 10 years. So hey, if we can get a new stadium, if we can have a Super Bowl, I mean, I'm down. And just like Shayne mentioned, if it's a new era, starting with Justin Fields, the new Bears, I mean, if it's like we're gonna rebuild this team completely, man, I'm happy for it. I'm down.
Definitely, and also, guys, we are not going to be the Arlington Bears. It's going to remain to be the Chicago Bears. Come on, I mean, chill out a little bit. We are not going to be the Arlington Bears. We're going to be the Chicago Bears forever. I mean, chill a little bit. Oscar, Shayne, let me tell you something about Oscar. Oscar, it's also a very knowledgeable guy regarding football and regarding the Chicago Bears. And we are very excited about our draft. You already mentioned. I mean, I think particularly, I mean, the best move that we could have done, if you ask me, it was for Tevin Jenkins. I think that Tevin Jenkins is set to be one of the best tackles in the league in a couple of years, but that's just my opinion. Okay. Now, but Oscar here still has his doubts. So Oscar, you were not fully convinced regarding the results of the draft, or maybe you were convinced, but what you have been telling us during these shows is that you are not going to be convinced until you see results on the field. Can you explain, Shayne, a little bit about this, your point of view?
Yeah, sure. My point of view is, okay, everyone's excited about a draft, but a draft clearly is not on the field, just on paper, right? So everyone is like putting Justin Fields like he's the best quarterback Chicago has ever had. I agree, but
and hasn't even played a snap.
He hasn't played a snap yet. It's like, okay, hold your horses, because he has Nagy. Okay, so let's be careful with that. Last year, as far as I know, Nagy lost the locker room. It was like defense was like a little bit angry at him, at an offense that was almost with no operation. How can I say it? Inoperative? I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah. Didn't work out.
Yeah, it didn't work out. And for me, it was un desperdicio la defensiva. How can I say it?
A waste. It was a waste.
It was a waste of the defense. It was a great defense from my point of view, with no offense. Like, I don't know. I mean, 1918, the Bears didn't even exist. In 2019, the Bears, they surprised us all. And I thought, okay, perhaps we can reach 2018. Yeah, to the promised land. Then I spent my money to go to the 100 years in Chicago. I was a piece of shit. Okay. Then 2019, yes, it was
the 100
like,
season.
It's like, what the hell happened? Game 1 against Green Bay was terrible. And then the 2020, it was terrible. And then it was, okay, we have a great draft. Yeah, but I want results. You are not getting my money. Okay? I am not buying a t-shirt from you, bitch, until you give me results. Okay? This fucking cap that Loki has, I hate it. Because they are buying us with a draft. No, I'm not going to be there with a draft. I want more. I want results. I want to win against Green Bay with or without Rodgers. I don't give shit about it. Okay? And I want to be in the playoffs and to win at least one game, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, you and Major Lightfoot, she also wants the Bears to stop talking about the new stadium and to start beating Green Bay. But hey, come on. I mean, Shayne already mentioned it, and I'm going to ask Shayne this. The talent is there. I mean, the talent is there, but there is something.
They made the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean,
well, that's a point. That's a point. Yeah.
That's why people have been asking us, do you think that Nagy and Pace are in the hot seat? I think they are not.
No,
they are not. Doing 3 seasons of Matt Nagy, 2 playoffs, no losing seasons, because we have an 8-8 season, which I think that is not a losing season, right? So no losing seasons, and I think that this is a very important measure for them coaches, and no losing seasons, 2 playoffs out of 3 seasons, so I think it's okay. So I think that they are not in the hot seat. But there is something that worries me, Shayne. Our defense is not getting any younger. So we had a great defense, as Oscar already mentioned it, in 2018. We should have done more. I think that if we would have won against Philly, I think that we would have gone all the way to the Super Bowl. That's my point of view. I think that it would have happened that way. But I don't know. We will never tell. But Shayne, our defense is not getting any younger. We are not getting the results that we want from some of our key players. What do you think? Do you think that is this our year, or we are going to start rebuilding our defense again?
Well, I think people fall into the trap of saying that the defense is getting older. Yes, they have another year of experience. You know, at the end of the day, Roquan Smith is 23 years old. Jalen Johnson is 21 or 22 years old.
Well, very fragile.
Yeah, Jalen Johnson, right? The shoulder, right? That's been an issue at Utah. I mean, if he comes out in the draft without the shoulder injuries, he's a top 20 talent all day long. That's why he dropped to 50. But listen, when I said this season and nothing really matters other than the quarterback, that's like what Oscar is talking about. It's Justin Fields is the most talented quarterback that the Chicago Bears have ever had on their roster. Jay Cutler had everything that you wanted. He didn't love the game of football. It doesn't mean that it's going to work out. That's where Oscar is right. And I understand his point of view. Enough is enough. And, you know, you see all these, 2021 hype videos. I don't care about the hype. I want results. I totally get it. But a friend of our network, Gary Williams, coined the phrase for us, hey, you hope that you have hope. And that's what we have now. You didn't have that with Mitch Trubisky. And listen, I would have never drafted Mitch at number 2. I would have made, listen, I liked DeShone Kizer. I was a DeShone Kizer fan, but he went to it. Well, no, he's a talented guy, but listen, it matters where you end up. He went to Cleveland. Cleveland was a hot mess there. He should have never came. He came out too early. He should have stayed at Notre Dame.
Shit show. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. But he came out too early. He has a ton of talent. This, just to get back to the defense, the Bears have a lot of young guys on defense. To me, it's a matter of philosophy. Chuck Pagano with me has the bullseye on his forehead. These guys are thoroughbreds. They're built to run. They're built to attack. And Chuck neutered them. That's a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember last year, Chuck Pagano came out and he goes, we got a guy like Khalil Mack. We got a guy like Robert Quinn, Roquan Smith. We're going to get these guys going this way. Talking about going after the quarterback. We're not going to get them going this way. We're not going to drop them into coverage. But yet that's exactly what he did. 3rd and 14, and you see Khalil Mack dropping in coverage. No, that's
Trevathan. It was
exactly Sean Desai, I think, is going to unleash these guys. There's the elephant in the room is Eddie Goldman and what's happening there, and this is very disappointing. I don't like where this seems to be headed, because I'm not sure. We talked about this last night with Greg Braggs on his show. I'm not sure Eddie loves football. I think he's a big guy. I think I talked about, being a young kid that's really, really tall, and you look at him and you're like, oh, you should play basketball. Well, I don't like basketball. Well, you should play because you're tall. That's what Eddie was always the biggest kid. So they said, go play football. He got paid. I'm not gonna blast him for sitting out for COVID reasons. He had his reasons. I'm not gonna hold that against him. But then the voluntary workouts, he doesn't show up. The mandatory workouts, he doesn't show up, and he doesn't even let the team know. And
what do you think is going to happen, Shayne? Sorry. What do you think is going to happen with Eddie Goldman?
Mike Pennell was signed just this week. So what is this telling us, Shayne?
It's sending a message to Eddie that we're prepared to move on without you if you're not going to take this serious. And you know what they're going to say behind the scenes is Eddie signed a monster contract extension the year that they traded for Khalil Mack. It was actually a week or two after they made the Mack trade. Yeah. And so his big money is kicking in now, and that his contract obviously didn't pay him anything last year because he sat out. So it gets pushed forward a year. So he's going to be missing out on big money. If he is it out of the realm of possibility that he just quits football? I don't think it is. I really don't think it is. And I think that this is what the Bears are saying, all of the right things, always going to be there in training camp. But if you look back at Eddie's history, when he was drafted, he came to mini camp out of shape. He couldn't participate. The next year in training camp, he came to camp out of shape. He got dehydrated. He had to sit out for a couple of days. This is a guy that's 6'4", 335 pounds. It's you get these guys and you give them a lot of time off. He's got, he doesn't have weights around him. He's got bags of Doritos and tacos and cracking a couple of beers. So that's what it is. But he is a vital piece to this defense. I'm not sure if people realize his value and to this defense as the nose tackle is just as important as number 52 is to this defense. He is.
We did miss him a lot this year, man.
Yeah, they did. But the Bears get a bad rap. I think, Oscar was talking about it a little bit, saying that I don't think Matt Nagy lost the locker room because I don't think you lose the locker room and make the playoffs. Did they? I'm not a big Matt Nagy guy, but I will say this. And to me, this is key. He's never had his guy at quarterback. And you can say Nick Foles.
Now he does.
Nick Foles was a replacement piece, just somebody that knew the offense that could come in. to me, the game changer with Matt Nagy and Mitch Trubisky was, I forget exactly what game it was, but they had the camera on him, and you could literally see Matt Nagy grab Mitch and said, "Man the fuck up." He said that to him on the sideline, which is fine. I mean, lots of crazy shit happens on an NFL sideline, but to me, that told me that, Mitch, listen, put on your big boy pants and let's play some fucking football. Don't be so calculated. When you go out there, you saw it in the playoffs against Philly. When he went out there and played free and played unrestricted, he took them down before Cody Parkey blew it. Yeah. But mentally, I think it's too big for Mitch. I do. I've always felt that. You can hear it in his press conferences all the time. You know, he's grabbing his water bottle. He's fidgety. Chicago is a different beast. This isn't Carolina. This isn't this isn't the Falcon. This is the Chicago fucking Bears. It's 24. You guys are in Mexico talking about the Chicago Bears. Mm-hmm. You know, you go over to London. People there love the Chicago Bears. My wife is from Czech Republic. I've been to Prague, and they're like, "Hey, the Bears!" They see the Bears. The Bears. I live here in New York, and everybody's a Dallas Cowboy, Giants, Jets, Bills fan. And I was walking in the city of Watertown today, and the guy yells out to my son and I, "Go Bears, Justin Fields, baby." You know, they awesome. They have that cachet, but they have to start winning. Oscar hit it out of the park with that. It's enough of the hype, and that's why they play the games, man. You got to get to these games. But I am a big believer in Justin Fields, because I think you've already heard it. Did you see Eddie Jackson's reaction when Justin Fields was drafted?
He was we finally got ourselves a quarterback.
Yeah, we got it. That shit matters, because football is all about confidence. And if you don't have confidence, then you finish 8-8 and bow out in the playoffs.
Yeah. Definitely. And this takes us, Juanito, to the next. First of all, I want to say hello to a couple of people that is watching. One, my friend Jason Miller, not James. Jason Miller, hello, mate. Big kudos to you. Shout outs. And of course, in upstate New York, Neil Petzula. And Heidi Zimmerman, of course. Hello, Cousin Heidi. Cousin Heidi is watching. So this takes us to the big question, Juanito. Is it really going to be, as Matt Nagy mentioned during the week, there is no way that Justin Fields can start for the Chicago Bears in 2021? What do you think?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
You mean, are you saying start the season, or start the season, or start at all?
No, being the starter quarterback for 2021. I mean, because he already mentioned in the press conference, you know what? I think, in my opinion, he sends a wrong message, like there is no competition. There is no way that Justin Fields can start. Dalton is our number one. We're going to go with him. So is this really going to happen, Juanito? Or if it does, how long is it going to take?
I mean, I think it's going to happen sooner than later. It's Matt Nagy can say, this season. I mean, Matt Nagy can say, Matt Nagy has to say that, because that's their original plan. I mean, you brought Dalton to be the starter. You have to say he's the starter, no? And he will be the starter in week one. I want to say, because people think that I want Justin Fields to be the starter on week one. But hey, if the competition, it's even, it's fair in training camp, let Dalton be the starter. But if Justin Fields is way better than Andy Dalton in training camp, man, unleash the beast, man. That's what I think. So I think it's going to happen sooner than later. Even if the Chicago Bears start losing, if they have a record like 5 losses and one win on week 5, week 6, he's going to have to start Justin Fields, definitely. There's a lot of pressure. People want to see Justin Fields in the field. So, I think that he will be playing. He will be quarterback one before half of the season.
When the fuck have they cared about what we want? I was talking when I had the honor to be invited to Keep It in 100 with Philo Tochan and Shayne and Cars. I was telling them, I was telling them, why is it so complicated to understand? It seems, Oscar, that everybody knows what we need, except for the people in charge of making those calls, you know. So it was almost ridiculous. But well, now that we are in the Dalton Fields topic, before we go to the questions that we prepared for our friend Shayne Marsaw, we are talking with Shayne, the smartest man, Marsaw. If you are just tuning in, he is joining us from New York. He's the guy. It's right there from the Tape Never Lies Network. So Oscar, what do you think? Fields or Dalton, what would you like to see? Would you like to see a Justin Fields sitting on the bench for a year, like getting experience, being bridge quarterbacked by Andy Dalton? We already know that Andy Dalton and his wife has taken out Justin Fields for dinner, and they have been talking a lot, and it looks like the mentoring part is going very well. But more particularly you, Oscar, what would you like to see the first game against the Rams?
Well, personally, I believe that Andy Dalton is an experienced quarterback. So he has played in a terrible offense, and he has done great numbers. And well, that's my perspective. Perhaps I am wrong.
No, he has.
Yeah. So
You're right.
I think that he's a good quarterback, and he should start because of the experience. But I believe that Justin Fields should be ready in case that Dalton gets hurt, or that he throws too many interceptions, or that whatever happens, Justin Fields has to be there. You know?
Okay.
He has to be ready. But I wouldn't like him to be on the field because we fans want him to be. Because if the offense is doing all right with Dalton, like, okay, then let Dalton do it until the time has come so that Justin Fields goes. But I wouldn't like him to be on the field risking his health because we want to see him triumph and getting to the Super Bowl. I mean, getting to the Super Bowl is like a lot of things has to happen so that a team, any team, can go there. That's my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. And Shayne, it is yeah, Juanito.
No, I wanted to ask Shayne, like, if he agrees that in order to have Fields on the sidelines, Dalton needs to win some games, right, Shayne?
Oh yeah.
Wait a minute.
Listen,
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Listen, Justin Fields is 100% playing this year.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay.
100%. Yes, that you can etch that in stone. At some point, he is going to get on the field. And this is what it's all about. Andy Dalton he's very, very capable. He's not Mike Glennon. I know a lot of people are worried about that. You know, Phil did a great breakdown on Andy Dalton. He knows his role. He knows that he's not going to be here long term as a starter. It's Justin Fields. The Bears.
He also isn't Alex Smith either. To keep
exactly. Yeah, and that's
season.
the one big. This is what the Bears are trying to preach. You hear them saying, because where did Matt Nagy come from? He came from Kansas City. They had the Alex Smith. Patrick Mahomes played one game as a rookie at the end of the year. That's great. That's not happening here in Chicago. I can guarantee you that. You. Listen, the way that I wish that it would go is I'm opening it up from get-go. May the best man win. If Justin Fields wins the competition, so be it. I think the thought process that the Bears are doing, and they'll never come out and tell you this, is, hey, Andy's our guy. But what does that tell me as an analyst and as somebody that follows this team? To me, that means, all right, Andy, you're going to go out there the first 4 games of the season, get the shit kicked out of you while our offensive line gets gelled, and then we're going to bring in our guy because we have a new left tackle. We potentially have a new right tackle. James Daniels is moving from left guard to right, or center, left guard to over to right guard. Sam Mustipher at center, maybe. Don't sell on that. Don't forget about Dieter Iselin being a center for the Chicago Bears. Telling you that right now. Big fan. This kid is going to be a keeper in Chicago. Cody Whitehair at left guard. This offensive line needs to gel. And to me, this is what they're never going to come out and say that publicly, that we're going to let Andy go out there and get the shit kicked out of him for a couple of weeks while the offensive line gels, because, hey, they start out right in week 1 versus who? The Rams and Aaron Donald on Sunday Night Football.
Exactly.
If you're being totally honest, do you think anybody in the NFL wants Andy Dalton as a starter on Sunday Night Football to kick off the NFL season? No, they want the glitz and glamour of Justin Fields. Will it happen? I don't think so. Like I said, I think that they're going to sit back, let this offensive line gel, and then you're looking at week 4, week 5, maybe week 6. Then you're bringing in the rookie and you're going from there.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned here that the sweet spot is going to be the Lions. Poor Lions, this shit show that has been going for decades in Detroit.
It's the only sweet spot. I mean, we're facing the 2 best divisions in the NFL. So I mean,
since 1991, the Detroit Lions have had more covers on the Madden video game than they have playoff wins. They've had 2 covers, 0 playoff wins. Yeah,
and they were back-to-back covers.
and remember that the Detroit Tigers have drafted more Super Bowl quarterbacks than the same Detroit Lions. They drafted Justin Fields a couple of years ago. Well, anyway, so let's start with bombarding our smartest man here. We are going to squeeze his knowledge out of him. So let me start with the first question for him. This guy, I have a lot of confidence about him, and I think that it can be the sleeper of our draft. So my question for you, Shayne, is Chris Tonga the sleeper in our draft 2021?
Tonga,
yeah, sorry. Yeah, Tonga, is he our sleeper? Is he our next Hakeem Hicks?
Well, he's going to be, I think he might be the next Eddie Goldman. You know what I mean? I think he's going to be a guy that kicks inside. He's actually a little bit older. I believe he's going to be 25 years old during the season. You know, these guys from BYU, they go do their Mormon missions for a couple of years and then come back. But, you know, he's a definite space eater. Very, very strong. He's wearing that number 95 in there. He looks the part. Does he have the potential to be a sleeper, Loki? I think absolutely. I think there's a little bit of stiffness in his game. I think he's got to get in just a little bit better shape, get acclimated, get into an NFL weight program. I wouldn't expect too much from him the first half of the season. I think that they're going to kind of put him in there, but the Bears have made a lot of moves on the defensive line. You know, you talked about Pennell being brought in. Don't forget about Angelo Blackson. That's a guy that they brought in, and he's gonna open up a lot of eyes. They signed him to a 2-year contract. You know, a guy that they brought in from the Arizona Cardinals in free agency. But Tonga is, you know, I know Phil was real big on him. Berlissimo, who does Draft Mob with us through our patron all access shows that we do. We did a breakdown on him pre-draft, but he's a guy absolutely. You know, John Jenkins moved on to Miami. So you bring this kid in here, and the Bears are building some depth with young, cheap players. And Tonga is definitely a talent.
Thank you, Shayne, very much. Juanito, do we have a special question for the smartest man here in the Tape Never Lies? That he's going to explain a little bit later about what is the Tape Never Lies and how do you become a patron and all of these interesting things that we need to know in order to be watching them week after week, doing the draft mob, doing Keeping It 100 and all the shows, the X's and the O's with Phil's father and Phil himself. So he's going to explain that by the end of the show. But right now, Juanito, do you have a particular question for our guest tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to keep talking about the draft. Yeah, about our draft class. Well, we already mentioned Khyiris Tonga like a potential sleeper. Shayne, which of these players from this draft class could you think, besides Justin Fields or Tevin Jenkins, might have an instant impact in this offense or defense this year, Shayne? What do you think? Who could it be?
If you're talking instant impact, that to me points to one guy, that's going to be Khalil Herbert, not necessarily as a running back, because he's going to come in and I believe he's going to be the kick returner. You know, you saw Cordero Patterson move on, and Herbert has opened a lot of eyes. Phil and I know a couple of people that are connected to the Bears. Zach Pearson from Bear Report was on with us and talked about it. You know, this kid doesn't have the open field speed that he's like Randy Moss streaking down the sidelines type speed, but he's quick in small areas. And that is key when you're talking about, you know, kick return. And this is a guy that's going to move into a role, because you saw Damian Williams brought in another year with David Montgomery. David Montgomery has increased his speed. according to David himself. Tariq Cohen, I think, is going to be probably shifted away from halfback role a little bit, and you're going to see him more as a slot guy.
Catching passes,
get him in there. Yep, and he's going to be your little safety belt. He's going to be like Mitch's little water bottle, his little binky.
Exactly.
Get in trouble, boom, there's Tariq. He can dump it off. But Tariq's coming off that ACL. But if you're talking about instant impact, to me, that's always special teams. And Khalil Herbert, I think, is going to surprise a lot of people with what he does, because he's a really good player. He really is.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to make the impact as a running back initially because David Montgomery is so good, but special teams for him. And I think you may see him make a house call here pretty early on because people aren't used to him.
Yeah, hopefully, because Patterson left, so we really need a player to make an instant impact there.
Yeah,
definitely, Juanito. Before we go with Oscar Ortiz de Pinedo's question, do you want to take this one, Shayne?
Snowden, yeah, actually, we did a breakdown on him on through our patron program that we do through TTNL. He's rail thin. I mean, you remember Leonard Floyd, he's skinnier even than Leonard Floyd. Strangely enough, the Bears have listed him as a defensive lineman, not as an edge rusher. So to me, that points to, if you guys remember Roy Robertson Harris, when he came out, he was a guy that was right around he would vary in the range from 237 to 244 pounds in college. Well, then when he was with the Bears, the first year he didn't really do anything. They got him in the weight program, but then he was playing up around 290 to 305. And I think this is what they want to do with Snowden. He's explosive. He's really got real long arms. The thing with me, and Phil and I talked about this. Phil actually brought it up, and I totally agree with him. I think what they're going to do with him is he's going to essentially get a redshirt year, probably not make the 53. But I would love to see them bring him in sub packages and just tell him one thing: go get the quarterback. Just go. Yeah. Put him on some stunts. Let him use his frame isn't big, but he's got those long arms and he's got that short area burst with those long arms. If you go down and if you look at some of his tape in college, he's got some special attributes. I think that the Bears long term are looking at him as a Roy Robertson Harris 5-tech type. But like we've said at TTNL, even with Roy Robertson Harris, we feel like they played him out of position, even at his size at 290 to 305 pounds. We would have deployed him as an outside rusher. Who's going to go get the quarterback? Let these tackles worry about stopping that guy racing off the edge when you got Khalil Mack on the other side. Have fun.
Yeah. He's going to
have to gain a little bit of weight, right?
Anyway.
Oh yeah, Snowden, absolutely. If you, I don't know, Loki, if you want to bring up a picture of him, or if anybody just looks up Snow, he looks like a wide receiver in college.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Too skinny. So Oscar, I think that Shayne is ready for your question.
Yeah, my question is about Robert Quinn. Last year, he was a complete disappointment.
Yep.
And I want to know your opinion. Is it possible that this year he can bounce back and be the guy that we brought to Chicago?
It's not getting off to a good...
The 70 million guy?
Yeah, it's not getting off to a good start because he's already hurt. He's dealing with a back. He's dealing with a back problem, and he's sitting out camp. Listen, Robert Quinn... last year was dealing with a foot issue and a back issue. I'm not sure what he did to re-aggravate it in the offseason here, but he was actually a little bit better than people expect. I think with these pass rushers, Khalil Mack falls into this. We've had a lot of people that look at Khalil Mack's sacks and they're like, oh, he didn't have 15 sacks, so he had a shitty season. No, that's literally the farthest thing from the truth ever, because he commands so much attention.
A Packer fan said that.
Yeah, exactly. And Khalil Mack himself was banged up. Robert Quinn, Oscar, it all comes down to health, because when he is healthy, he's a factor. He can get after the quarterback. But, he's never been a guy that's put up great numbers playing outside on a natural surface like you do at Soldier Field. And those things happen because he's been more of a speed guy. He performed well in Dallas. Listen, the Bears moved off of Leonard Floyd. I was shocked that they threw all of that money at Robert Quinn. I wasn't against it because I knew that they wanted to take a little bit of pressure off of Khalil Mack. But if you can't make the club in the tub, right? But this guy's making so much money. He's going to make the club. He's just going to be getting paid a shitload of money for minor production. You just hope. Listen, he doesn't need to be here right now in these mini camps, in these OTAs. You need him healthy when you need him healthy in September. It's not even about training. Robert, take the time that you need. We'll put you through these conditioning programs. We'll get you treatment, get that back straight. We'll get you ready to go in September. It's not about training camp with Robert Quinn. We'll get him rolling for September for Sunday Night Football versus the Rams.
Awesome, Shayne.
Okay.
So I think it's my turn to ask Shayne something. But we have a lot of people saying a lot of things to Shayne here. Misspelling his name, by the way. Like we have
everybody forgets it.
Everybody forget about the spelling of Shayne's name. But anyway, there is a question here for you before mine, Shayne.
I do, yeah. Travis Gibson is if you look at what he looks like, he's packed on a lot of. I don't want to. When I say he's packed on a lot of mass, he's packed on good weight. He's ripped up pretty good. He looks a lot bigger, and he needed to be because he's a guy at Tulsa that you would look at him and they'd say, oh, they played him at defensive end or they played him at linebacker. He played inside a lot, and that wasn't his game because Tulsa's not getting 5-star guys. It's not like Alabama where, oh, this guy got hurt, we're going to bring in a 5-star to replace him. It's not like that at Tulsa. He's put on a lot of good weight. I will say this, during the mandatory camp, at one point, Khalil Mack wasn't on the field. They looked over in the corner, and he was way far away, and he was working with 2 guys. Khalil Mack was. He was working with Snowden, and he was working with Gibson. So I think that that's a good sign. And, don't forget a lot of these rookies from last year, they did. Cole Kmet is another one. They didn't have the benefit of a full training camp. They didn't play preseason games. They went from the draft. They didn't have all the same type of mini camps that we're seeing now because of the COVID issue. So that's going to help these guys because they have this entire off season, to get acclimated, get their body right, get their strength up, get their weight maintained. And that's going to make all of these guys better. And Travis Gibson, he's got it. Ryan Pace traded up for him. They gave up a future 4th-round draft pick to Minnesota to move up in the 5th round to take him. So they see something there. And I saw somebody in the chat said they need to find a pass rush across from Khalil Mack. 100% they do. Travis Gibson has the door wide open for him to be that guy. I don't think he's going to be an every down guy. I think you're going to see some guys, rolling in. They hope that Robert Quinn is healthy, but Travis Gibson is definitely going to have a role and going to have a chance to earn his spot.
Yeah, make some noise.
Let's just hope. Well, there you go, Jerome Munoz, that is here watching Haciendo el Oso. Well, my question for you, Shayne. Then we have another question by Juanito, and I wanted to tell you, Chile, Wilder, are we going to struggle down there in the secondary, or they're going to bowl this year?
Yeah, actually, he's been the star of the offseason. If you're going to pick one guy, as Kendall Vildor has been
just because of Jalen Johnson's injury, right?
Well, no. I mean, he's stepped up and he's played very, very well. You saw him. He actually posted up Jimmy Graham in the end zone the other day and battled him and picked the ball off. Jimmy Graham's 6'7".
Yeah.
So that's no
not an easy
small
task.
feat. Yeah. So the Bears have a lot of youth there. Listen, Kyle Fuller moved on to Denver for financial reasons. There's a lot of questions if I would have done it that way. Saving him, you can move off. Obviously, we saw what they did with Bobby Massey and Charles Leno to get some cap money back. Jimmy Graham is another guy. It's going to be interesting to see what they do there. It seems like the Bears are very, very high on him, but 35 years old, the NFL is a young man's league for the most part. And you're 35, and he's a guy that at any point can go down just like anybody can, but he's had back issues too. So Kindle Vildor is very interesting. He's a guy that I was very, very happy to get into the draft. I think it was Cars when we were breaking it down. He wasn't quite as high on him when we were doing our analysis last year. But what separates Vildor for me is none of it is too big for him, and he's very, very feisty. If you look back to the Minnesota game, and I'm blanking on Minnesota's running back, number 33. I don't know why I can't think of his name right now. But in that game, you saw Kindle Vildor coming up his lane, and he blew the running back up. And that, from a rookie cornerback, that sets the tone. And you saw the running back from Minnesota get up and looked at him, and he's like, holy shit, man. And he gave him a little fist pump, and that's how you get respect. He is a guy that's been working his ass off. He's going to have a chance. The Bears believe in him, and that's where a lot of these guys, all they need is a chance, and there's a wide open spot across from Jalen Johnson. Is it going to be Desmond Trufant? Maybe early. Desmond's another guy that's a little bit long in the tooth, and he's kind of grabby, but he's a ball hawk. That's why he's still in the league. But I wouldn't sleep on Kindle Vildor at all, and I actually think he has a very bright future.
Thank you, Shayne. So before we go with Juanito's question, I want to say to Giovanni Dos Santos that is watching, thank you very much for watching. I have your question right here about the outcome of the game, Sunday Night Football, the opening game for the Chicago Bears against the Rams. I have your question right here, but we are going to ask this, Shayne, by the end of the show. So when we go with our predictions. So Juanito, another question. So we can move on.
Oscar,
let's go with Oscar.
Because he needs to leave now. So I want him to ask him his final question to Shayne.
Shoot, Oscar.
Actually, I forgot.
Damn Brock.
I forgot my question, man. I'm terribly sorry because I had to leave. I have a lot of work. And I forgot about it, but
ask him some other thing.
I don't know. Was it called America if it was discovered by Columbus? I don't know.
remember that talking on behalf of Oscar Ortiz de Pinedo, he has been having health issues, so he's on a lot of painkillers right now. He's on a lot of drugs.
I think most Bears fans are on painkillers.
Yeah, for 100 years only.
What do you think of Cruz Azul?
Cruz Azul being the champion.
Now
well, Jess, I have to leave, but I want to thank you very much, Shayne, because it's been so fun to be with you, and I learned a lot, and I have better expectations about my Bears this season after listening to you. So I'm going to try to chill out, relax, and enjoy the ride. I'm going to enjoy the ride about this season, but I ain't gonna buy anything to these bitches until they give me results. Yep. You listen to that, motherfuckers? How do you listen to that, motherfuckers? I ain't going to buy shit. You understand, man? I ain't.
A single penny. Not a single penny.
Not a single penny, motherfuckers. Okay.
he just got old Samuel L. Jackson on us right now.
I don't know. Yes, I'm not in painkillers, but I have a lot of work. I'm terribly sorry. Thank you very much, all the Chicago Bears that are listening to us and watching us. I'm sorry, or listening. I don't know.
Perhaps they'll listen too. Both of them.
Perhaps they're blind. I don't care.
Maybe they're blind.
Yeah, that's it. So I want to leave saying, bear down, and thank you very much for being with us.
Bear down, bro.
Bear down, Oscar.
Thanks,
thank
Oscar.
you very much. I hope that you finish soon with your work. Thank you very much. That was Oscar Ortiz de Pinedo that was joining us for the most part of the show. We are just entering the final route now. So, Juanito, shoot. I mean, let's squeeze this man. We have the smartest man in the room. We are learning a lot. The fans are asking a lot. The fans are learning a lot too. So, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been an hour already, so I think I'm gonna go directly to my final question. Like predictions. Shayne, what are your predictions for the year? Where do you see the Bears in terms of wins, loss? What would be a good year for us this next season?
Like I said earlier, I'm not a big, wins loss prediction guy right now because so many things can happen. We're not even to camp yet. There's injuries always play a key factor. Where's Aaron Rodgers going to play? That's going to be a huge factor. Is he going to end up in Denver? The Raiders are going to make a huge push for him if he truly is available. But what is going to be a good year for me? It's pretty simple. It's the development of number one, Justin Fields. And this is the difference here. You see it. Justin Fields threw an interception in the end zone the other day during practice, and it was bad. He made the wrong read, and he got picked off by Kendall Vildor. He went back, he huddled up, and then after that, it was touchdown.
Exactly, 6 straight. I think it was.
Yeah, he came out, and that's what we need to see. We can't see the repeated mistakes. We have to see the big plays. This is the Zach Pearson I mentioned before. He does some work with us, with Shy City and keeping it 100. He's there. He has the benefit of being there on the sidelines for practices, and he's been doing this for a decade. And he's like, man, I've never seen so many deep balls completed. It is only practice, but don't forget it was only practice before Justin Fields was here, before Andy Dalton was here, back when Jay Cutler was here. He's like, I've never seen so many deep balls completed in stride. It's a totally different feel. One of the biggest issues with Chicago has been on offense, besides quarterback, is lack of team speed. They went out and they went after Marquise Goodwin and they went after Damiere Byrd to add to that. These guys have made, you like that instant impact. They have made a big difference. That's why Tariq Cohen is going to factor in here really big if he can go, if he's healthy, because he's explosive. He's got that short area quickness. When you have Marquise Goodwin, Damiere Byrd, and Darnell Mooney that are, running roughshod just with their speed and clearing safeties out, that gives guys like Tariq Cohen, guys like David Montgomery, a whole lot of room to run. And guess what? We have a 4-4 guy at quarterback when he gets in there.
4-44.
So you can't forget that part. But to me, it's simple. If the Bears go out and finish, 500, I guess it's 17 games this year, so they can't do that. But if they win 9 games or win 8 games, if they're in that range, I think, can they be better than that? 100%. This defense is legit. They just have to deploy it the correct way. Confidence is everything in football. If these guys look across the field and they see Justin Fields make a mistake, but believe in him that he's going to come back and rectify it and take them down the field to score, that matters. These guys believe it. They never believed that Mitch was the guy, that Nick Foles was the guy, that any of these guys were. There's no other way to put it. You see the difference, man, with Justin Fields. These guys, the Bears became legitimate without even playing a game, without taking a snap, just because of the talent of Justin Fields. Now it's up to him. It's up to Matt Nagy to flip into the OC, Bill Lazor, to put him in the proper position and to go out there and have success on the field. You got a horse at 32. That's the ultimate. How do you protect your guy? You're going to protect him with Tevin Jenkins. Hopefully Larry Borum steps up, another rookie offensive tackle, but you have the ultimate guy back there in 32 that could take a lot of pressure off of everybody and let Justin Fields eat. I mean, I want to say to your fans, don't fall into the trap of thinking that Justin Fields is not playing this year. He's playing. He's playing.
Sooner or later, Shayne thinks that he's going to play 100%.
He will.
100%.
Now that you mentioned that interception, I mean, you know what I love? what he said. He said that whenever he makes a mistake, there's a 99.9% he won't do that mistake again. And
great.
I mean, I love it. Whenever you guys remember that 2018 preseason game against the Bengals, where Mitch Trubisky threw an interception and Nagy instantly took him out of the field. We could see on the screen that Mitch was like blaming the wide receiver for that interception. This guy, no, he's like, man, I won't make the same mistake again.
I fucked it up, and I'm not going to do it again. Yeah,
I like the way he said it.
That's what you want, and that's this is a guy. Look back, like last night we were on with Greg Braggs doing a show, and in the background of my TV I had Clemson versus Ohio State on, and Justin Fields had 6 touchdown passes that game, but that was the game when he got blew up. It almost looked like he broke his hip on that one play when he got tackled. Yeah. But what did he do? It didn't affect him. Yes, he was hurt, but he came out and he played like a fucking dog after that. You look back, and if you want to look at where Mitch really started to regress was when he got hurt against Minnesota initially. He became a different player when the safety from Minnesota hit him late, and remember he hurt his shoulder, and then he ended up hurting it again the next year. That was always in Mitch's head. He had a couple of nice runs after that, but he never had that dog mentality of like, all right, 1, 2, 3, I'm gone. It was, he didn't have it. You're going to get that with Justin Fields.
Yeah. And everybody thought that
definitely
Matt Nagy.
We lost you.
I don't know if
we lost. Okay, there you are.
Can you hear me?
I mean, your image is frozen, but
hello.
Don't worry. Let's wait for Juanito to get a better connection. That Mexican's connection sucks big time. But anyway, I wanted to tell you because some of our fans, there you are, Juanito. Just give me 1 second for your final question, for your final remarks. Shayne, there is a question from our fans in NFC North War, one of the groups that we have in Facebook. And he's asking, how much of a big part is it going to play talking about our success or lack of success inside the division? How much of a part does it play if this motherfucker tantrum lady Sharon fucking Rogers plays or doesn't play this year?
Well, listen, it makes a huge difference. If he's not playing for the Packers, the entire division is up in the air, and it's wide open. And what's the quickest way to the playoffs? Win your division. Listen, I hate the Packers. I hate everything about the Packers. I think that Aaron Rodgers is a smuggy bitch, but guess what?
We all do.
He's a first ballot shoe-in for the Hall of Fame. I mean, you look at his numbers, and it looks like something out of fucking PlayStation. You know what I mean? It's crazy. I don't even think he's close to throwing 100 interceptions yet, and he's been in the league since 2005. Probably. It's crazy. It's nuts. But according to Jay Glazer, he is all in and wants nothing to do with Green Bay. And I tend to take what Jay Glazer says very, very serious. He's plugged in. He's very close with Aaron Rodgers. So it makes a huge difference because this is another thing. I don't think things like that were too big for the quarterbacks that the Bears have had. Jay Cutler's first game was in Lambeau, and he threw 4 interceptions. And ever since then, it was always in his head. Mitch had a little bit of success against Green Bay, not enough, but it was always too big for him. Justin Fields, he's not wired that way. He's not wired to be scared. He's wired to be like, oh, we're going to Lambeau? All right, we're going to fucking win. I'm going to drag my guys across the fucking line with me. I'm not going to run over to Coach Nagy and say, this guy did this. He didn't do that. No, it's going to be on me. That's why they traded up for him. And listen, David, you guys know David Kaplan from ESPN 1000 in Chicago. We had him on, and he was on with us draft night for a little while. And he talked about, and you guys have probably all heard this, but I'll just repeat it because I think it's important. Matt Nagy was instrumental in Kansas City in breaking down the quarterbacks in 2017 draft. He wrote a summary on each of them. He said, Mitch Trubisky, ultimate project. has talent, ultimate project. He wrote down for Deshaun Watson, he's got skinny ankles, worried about him getting injured. He didn't say anything about masseuses, which he probably missed that. But Patrick Mahomes, what did he write? Superstar. Whatever you can do, go get this guy. That was Matt Nagy's assessment on those three guys. And hey, the Bears had their shot. Deshaun Watson wasn't the number 2 quarterback on the Bears board. Patrick Mahomes was. He was the number 2 quarterback. But this is my only saving grace with Matt Nagy, is that he was instrumental in this offseason breaking down these guys. And I happen to believe that if the Bears had the number 1 pick in the draft, I still think they take Justin Fields. I know that's a huge comment. I think he was their guy 100%. So that's where I go back to Gary Williams. You hope you have hope. That's when I'm pinning my hope to, that they believe in him. And Matt Nagy got that breakdown of him right, because, hey, if you don't have a quarterback, you're not winning in the NFL. And Green Bay is about to find that out if Aaron Rodgers is elsewhere.
Let's just hope for it. Juanito, don't you think let's finish with let's wrap it up. Yeah. Don't you think that Matt Nagy could have done a little bit more, or he went the wrong way with Mitchell Trubisky? Because I mean, the talent was there. You just need to go through the tape of this Tampa Bay game or the game against New England. I mean, the talent was there, man. What went fucking wrong?
Well, first of all, Matt Nagy was brought in to develop Mitch Trubisky. Obviously, he didn't do his job. That's why he was brought in. But you know what? At the end of the day, he did what he could. I mean, there was a lot of talent in Mitch Trubisky, but Matt Nagy did what he could.
You were a big fan of Mitch Trubisky. I know you bought your jersey. I know you still have your jersey.
You know the way you have to look at it, guys, is look at it this way. Mitch was on the open market for 31 other teams. He was never coming back to Chicago. And he signed a 1-year deal for $2.5 million. That's not even backup quarterback money in the NFL.
Unless you're Chase Daniel.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. 31 other teams. Listen, when he was with the Bears, what did most people say? If he goes someplace, he's going to New England, Bill Belichick's going to unlock him, and they're going to be right back to winning Super Bowls. That was the thing. He's going to go to San Francisco. Kyle Shanahan's going to unlock him. They'll be right back in the Super Bowl. They had their chance, and they didn't even have to pay him. Mitch begged and pleaded to sign in Denver. Who's there? Vic Fangio. Does he have a history with Mitch? Yes, he does.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
They didn't want him. Mitch wanted Denver. He wanted like hell to go there. They said no. He went to Buffalo. $2.5 million. That says a whole bunch to me.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Shayne,
you ask me if he's going to win a ring before the Chicago Bears do.
Maybe because he's in Buffalo. I mean, but Shayne, do you think he'll ever get the chance to be a starting quarterback in any other team
again?
Injury, yeah. I mean, is somebody going to sign him to come in and be their starter? No, I think it's going to be a compete. This is what he's hoping. Listen, Buffalo signed him for one reason: the compensatory draft pick. He's going to sit back. You're always the best when you don't have to listen. What Oscar said is right. The hype with Justin Fields right now is huge, and he's never played a snap. That's going to start to build up for Mitch Trubisky, because he's not going to get a chance to play unless Josh Allen gets injured. So if he sits out all 17 games and doesn't play, people are going to be like, oh, man, what about Trubisky up in Buffalo? He showed some signs. They're going to talk themselves into it. Is anybody going to rush out there and sign him to a lucrative contract to be, all right, you're our guy, you're coming here? No, it's never going to happen. He's going to go someplace. He's going to compete. It's just, I don't know. I don't see. I like Mitch. I think he's a great kid. I don't think anybody's going to outwork him. I think he's got the talent. Mentally, I don't think he's tough enough to be an upper echelon quarterback in the NFL, because I think injuries affect him mentally. I think the environment around him, I think everything bothers him. And you listen, you have to be fucking Teflon. You have to be, somebody comes up and gets in shut the fuck up. This is my huddle. I'm the fucking quarterback. You shut the fuck up. That's the way you have to be with these guys.
And he doesn't have it in him.
He does it. Even the pregame, you guys remember when like Greg Braggs always would record these pregame huddles in the tunnel, and you would hear Mitch talking. To me, none of it ever sounded believable. It was like he was saying it because he's like, "Oh fuck, I'm a starting quarterback. Let's go. All right, let's go. Let's go out there and be dogs. Let's go out there and try our best."
Chuckles, I'm in trouble.
Mom's gonna get us popsicles if we win, guys. Let's go. Let's go. You know, it's not like that. You have to be a fucking dog, and it's got to be legitimate because you're not gonna fool other players in the NFL. If Justin Fields goes out there and outplays Andy Dalton, who's going to be the first fucking ones to know? Every player on that fucking roster. And if Matt Nagy sees that and still starts Andy Dalton, then Matt Nagy is a fucking jackass and shouldn't be the head coach. It's just that simple.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's just
So we are 20 minutes after the hour. It was a pleasure to have Shayne here. We have a final remark, but before we go with our final remarks, I want to ask Shayne, what do we need to become patrons? What is the Tape Never Lies Network? Tell us a little bit about it. Tell everybody that is watching you and that will be watching you, because as you know, this is very common. You know it very well, Shayne. Sometimes live, the audiences are not very big, but we are here for you guys because you're going to watch this show 100 times after the show is over. So this is what we're doing. That's why we are here. So Shayne, tell the hundreds of people that is going to watch this show, what do they need to become a patron? But first, what is the Tape Never Lies Network? What are you doing right now?
Yeah, the Tape Never Lies Network, really the way that it all started, strangely enough, I was the guy that actually named it when Phil and I were getting into this. You know, we were a part of another network and then things broke up there. And Phil and I have been friends for over 2 decades.
Wait, we have Phil Otochan on the other line. I think that he has something different to say. Nah, I'm kidding.
I wouldn't be surprised. Phil does love to talk. But no, Phil was famous for doing his breakdowns on YouTube of players. He would take like Mitch Trubisky from a game, and it's not, listen, football, everybody loves stats. Remember what I talked to you guys earlier about Khalil Mack going out and maybe he didn't have 15 sacks, but he still had a dominant year. Mm-hmm. Because stats are for fucking losers. That's what we're built on. I can sit here and listen to somebody give me a fucking stat, or I can go to the tape and I'll be like, yeah, you're telling me these numbers and it's not adding up to what I'm seeing on tape at all. And that's where this is what we're no bullshit. We're not gonna say, oh, this guy's a bear, so we're going to promote him and we're going to blow sunshine and rainbows up people's ass about him. Well, listen, we'll have Charles Leno on and we'll tell Charles Leno right to his fucking listen, dude, you're fucking you're slacking. Well, we've done that with many players, many analysts. We're built on truth. And that's, we always feel like that's never going to get you in trouble telling the truth. So the tape, it doesn't lie. It's there for you to see it. It's not about stats. It's really not. It's about, what you're seeing. And this is what that's what got Ryan Pace in trouble. He drafted Mitch Trubisky based on what he couldn't see, what he expected. You see Justin Fields on tape. You see Deshaun Watson on tape. These guys were winners, but he pushed that to the side and he made a huge mistake. So that's what we're based on. If you want to become a patron through TTNL, we head over to thetapeneverlies.com. It'll take you to our patron page. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with Patreon. It's we have it set up. It's charges you $7 a month. We do breakdowns. We had a draft show we were doing every Sunday. It was called Draft Mob. It was with myself, Marsaw, Atoshin, Bayless, George Bayless, Barlissimo, MOB, Draft Mob. Yep, that's where that came from. We were breaking down everything. Phil's father is a Hall of Fame coach in the state of Connecticut in high school. Phil's uncle, Sam Retigliano, was the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. We have all of these guys on breaking things down live on air. So we'll take all 22 from these college players. We'll take the all 22 tape, which is the coach's angle, where you see the entire thing. It's not the TV feed. That's where people get in trouble. They'll look at a feed that they're seeing on TV, and you're not seeing the routes develop. You're not, you're not seeing the entire thing. So we have all the cool little, toys where we can stop and pause and highlight and circle players and do all of that. And we break it all down. And what we like to do is sometimes a person doesn't know what a cover 2 defense. Maybe somebody doesn't know what a 5, you hear somebody say, oh, this guy was lined up at 5 technique. There's never a stupid question. We want to inform everybody. If you say, hey, Shayne, what's a 5 technique? We're not going to berate you for it. We're going to tell you what it is. And we want you to be a smarter football fan. And nice. We're all about we've built such a great group of people, of following, and we're really built on family. Loki, you've seen it, man. You know what I mean? We go out of our way to have fans on. We're all about the interactiveness of our network. We'll do a lot. We just did a live pop-up show today that we do these pop-up shows, part of Patreon, that's not even planned. So we did a Father's Day special. It was me, Phil, and Phil's dad. We went on there. We were on for over an hour. In the first 45 minutes, we didn't talk about the Chicago Bears at all. We just talked about family. We talked about our fathers, talking about growing up, talking about how important football was in our life and what it can mean to your kids and all that stuff. So we always have a different viewpoint on things, but it always leads back to the Chicago Bears. But yeah, head over to the tapeneverlies.com, sign up. Listen, you're not locked in. If you watch it, if you do it for a month, then you're out $7. You can cancel it, but I promise you will not be disappointed. It works. Yeah, it works out to about 23 cents a day. And for all of the tape breakdowns. So what Phil will do, Phil does these Tape Never Lies breakdowns. So we did one on Justin Fields. Phil will put one out that's about 12 minutes long. That's for free. But the patrons will do one that's about 24 minutes long. And it's a lot more detailed, and they're getting a lot more content.
How complicated is for fans outside the United States? As you know, this show, it's mainly made. I know we are having an English show right now, but this is just because we have a great guest tonight. Shayne, the smartest man, is here with us. That's why we're doing an English show. But this show is Spanish every week, and it's dedicated to the Mexican fans and to the fans of Spanish-speaking countries in all Latin America. So how complicated it is for them to join? I mean, because sometimes the pay, it could be a tricky thing. So how do we pay if we want to become patrons?
We've had great luck, through Patreon. It's been good. We ran into a couple roadblocks initially, but they got it all worked out. I mean, we have cousin Heidi. I know she's in there tonight.
She's right there.
She's a patron, so she can speak on it. We have people in London. We have people. There's people in Kuwait, Korea. There's people in Czech Republic. I mean, it's really worldwide. We have a couple of people in Russia, people in Canada, obviously people in Mexico. It's really worldwide. It's we have a really big fan base. Not all of them are patrons, of course, because hey, listen, everybody, I can sit here and say $7 a month isn't a lot, but I know a lot of people are on limited income. So that's why we made our price point as low as we could, because we're not in this to be like, oh man, look at what we're getting money for this. No, we wanted to make it so it was affordable for everybody, and that we found out that, the 23 cents a day, we were hoping that would be available, for most people if they're interested in the Bears. And like I said, it's give it a shot. Head over to the tapeneverlies.com, sign up for a month, try it out for 30 days, and you're going to be out $7 if you don't like it. But it's great, man. Phil and I, this is beyond our families and beyond the Chicago Bears. This is our baby. I mean, it literally started with us too. We broke away from a different network last year, and this is everything that is done here has our handprints on it, and we take it very Loki. Man, we take it very, very serious.
I know
if we're connected to anything and we put out a product, it's going to be top notch. I mean, if you haven't watched one of our shows, you can go over to our YouTube channel, The Tape Never Lies, and check it out and look at some of our shows. it's not just football all the time. We have humor. We break things down. We bust balls. There's a lot of locker room stuff, but there's a lot of production to it, and I think it appeals to a lot of people.
There's Oscar. That's Oscar, very angry. Thank you very much, Shayne. I think that we're getting to the end of this show. Juanito, yes, Juanito, you have something to tell Shayne?
Yes, I have one more question for Shayne, and
Yes,
this one doesn't have anything to do with football. I just want to know, what do you like best? The Chicago-style hot dog or the New York-style hot dog?
Oh yeah, see, this has been a big thing. Like Phil and I talk about this. Phil Toshin makes the big mistake where he squirts a bunch of ketchup all over his hot dog. I'm not a ketchup guy on hot dog.
I'm not either.
That's blasphemy as far as I'm concerned. But I thought you were going to go with the pizza question.
Oh yeah, the pizza, whatever. Yeah.
That was my question.
I just wasn't so sure about the New York one, so I had to look it up on the internet. So I found out the dog, the cheesecake. So, but talking about Chicago, I had to talk about the New York, the Chicago style hot dog.
Yeah, no, they're both great, man. I'm obviously I'm not going to complain about either. I'm not a big pickle or tomato guy, so that's the big thing. I know when you get in Chicago, it's
the mustard.
You're getting all of that stuff. So I'm very like my hats. I like my hats very kind of plain and not a lot of flash and stuff like that. So I'm like that with my hot dog. So I'm not going to complain about either. But if I'm having a Chicago dog, unfortunately, I'm not putting everything on it that people in Chicago usually love. I'd pull the jalapeno off it. I'd pull the pickle off of it. Then you're back to the plain New York
end up
dog.
with the plain hot dog. Nice.
That's great.
Definitely no ketchup. Definitely no ketchup.
No
That's
ketchup.
great. Señoras y señores, tuvimos hoy aquí en Haciendo al Oso al hombre más inteligente hablando de fútbol, Shayne, the smartest man. Estuvo aquí con nosotros en Haciendo el Oso y queremos agradecerles a todos los que nos estuvieron viendo. We want to thank all the people watching, all the Shayne fans, of course. But don't forget, Juanito and I were talking about the other day, and definitely we agreed that the Tate Never Lies Network and the work of Phil Toshin and, of course, Shayne Marsaw, they are our role models to do what we do. I mean, this is not our day. We have day jobs, as Shayne already mentioned it earlier in the show, but definitely these are the guys to follow. Definitely, our show is not as well produced as theirs. It doesn't have all the edition and all the video and all the professional things that they do. Follow these guys y también sigan Haciendo el Oso, por supuesto, and also follow Haciendo el Oso because there are a lot of people in the United States, Spanish-speaking people, that sometimes they struggle with the English show. So, well, they can come here. I mean, if you don't want them, Shayne, send them to us.
We'll take everybody. No, we'll take them all. We'll take them all.
We appreciate that you were here. Thank you very much for accepting the invitation, Shayne. You're a great guy. Congratulations of your new beautiful baby. And there is nothing else I can say but thank you, Juanito. We are going to say goodbye now.
Yeah, the same. Thank you very much, Shayne. I mean, no wonder you're called the smartest man. We had a really nice chat with you today. I learned a lot. I mean, every time you have a guest like you, so knowledgeable, we learn. I do learn a lot. The last time we learned a lot. I mean, you guys are awesome. We admire you. We appreciate you. We love you guys. And hey, I mean, I hope this is not the last time we share the microphone. And
anytime, man. Anytime you guys want us, we'll be there. Phil and I, we love doing this stuff. So we love to spread the wealth, and like I said, we love to help you guys out and really help anybody that's talking about the Bears, because it's all about family. We're all rooting for the same thing, and if the Bears do well, we're all in a good mood, and it's the same type, with these products that you guys put out. So any way we can help, we're always here.
And to all Shayne fans in the United States, I always do this when we do an English show, but I didn't do it earlier this show. We apologize. Please understand that English is not our main language. So if we butchered your language a little bit, if we fucked it up a little bit, we are.
My wife is from Czech Republic. I'm totally used to it. She swears at me in 2 languages, so I'm not going to complain at all, man.
Thank you, Shayne. Nos vamos, Juanito, entonces, pero no sin antes decir, bear down.
Yeah, bear down, baby. Yeah. You know, let Shayne say our the same thing. No, bear down.
Shayne, the floor is yours, and we want to say goodbye by saying,
bear down,
baby.